So I have a question for you. What is it that you're looking for in a coach or a mentor? And have you actually been disappointed in those results? The reason I'm asking is because I've bought programs, courses. I haven't had a coach yet. And the course was really good and I really like it. It was actually Marie Forleo's thing, her business school of business. Um, and all of it was very logical and very smart. And it's great for somebody who doesn't know marketing. I never went to school for marketing. I am a hairdresser. I have been dealing with clients for 37 plus years. So as far as that, I've done a lot of that business naturally because I do attract people. They do come into the salon. I've never not been busy. And I made quite a career out of it. But where I shifted is now I'm starting to get into a little bit of more of the mentoring part of it, because as a hairstylist, I have been mentoring and coaching and counseling people for the last 37 plus years. And anyone that goes to a hairstylist, unless you just don't talk, knows we know where all the dead bodies are buried. And, and there are some people that just want to vent. They don't want advice. There's people that actually do want advice and never use it. And then there's people that will listen and actually do the steps and, go further in their life or whatever. And that's okay. Some people want to vent. That's fine. People really like what's comfortable. Nobody likes change. Everybody wants change, but nobody likes change. And the reason I ask this question about this is because I've seen some online coaches or mentors or whatever, gurus, but I know them personally. And some of the things that they insinuate is that maybe they got their money through their actual business, or they make their story a little bit more of despair than what reality is. And maybe it is to them, but I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. Okay. I overdosed on drugs at 17. I used to party way too hard. I am a Gen Xer and I have done tons of drugs and drank a lot and made a lot of bad decisions during that time. Actually, I didn't make any decisions. I just would respond to stimuli. And I actually got myself in a very precarious situation at a party that was not good. And I'm not scarred from it, but whatever, I made my peace with that. Hopefully everybody else does too. And, then I found myself, pregnant out of wedlock. I was the first in my family to do that. And that was really frowned upon. And so anyway, but what led up to that was kind of interesting. And so what it was, I went to this church growing up, and it was an apostolic Pentecostal church. So it was pretty strong. Now, my parents did not grow up in it. So I went to it through the friends in the neighborhood because everybody in the neighborhood went to this church pretty much. And, I wanted to belong. And honestly, I didn't really feel like I got that attention that I craved from my parents. I didn't get it from the home. So I got the attention that I needed in that church. And what was interesting is as little, so I started going there when I was probably like in the first grade. And I really got more into going to it probably more in the sixth grade, because around that time, my friend's house had burnt down. And then my other friend was moving because her dad, I guess, was selling drugs and she was almost kidnapped. So they moved to San Francisco. And so there was a lot of craziness. And then, the people that I went to children's church in their household, they ended up killing their daughter. And it was insane. She was a grown woman, but still, the whole thing was really chaotic. So this is where I really needed something that made me feel safe. So when I started going to church, and I got more into it later, like in the 6th and 7th grade, but it was prior to that, this church that I went to taught me how to pray for things that I wanted. and also pray for everybody else too, which honestly worked. Okay. So I did feel safe. Like all these things were happening around me, but not one of them were to me, not till later. And then, I prayed to do well at track. So I won races. And then, I prayed to do well on my math tests, and I did. And so I was super competitive. So I kind of prayed for all that stuff too. And it was amazing how it kind of worked out, right? So even down to the Night Stalker, okay, that guy was killing people down in LA, and then he would come up to the Bay Area where I live and kill some people up here. And I swear to you, I was so scared of that guy, I wouldn't even leave my windows open in the middle of the night. And I thought, well, shoot, I got the best tool right here. Why don't I just pray about it? The next day, they found his fingerprint on a car. And then 2 days after that, he was caught. Now, I'm sure everybody else was praying, because there's definitely some truth in the power of prayer. So I do believe in that. And I do believe in prayer. As much as I don't care for organized religion or non-denominational religion, I do believe it's a form of control on a lot of things. But I also find it very helpful and comforting to many people. So everyone should do what works for them. My experience is not like many. And so, if you haven't grown up in these kind of hardcore churches, so, we're all unique to that, right? But I will say I do have faith in a higher power, the universe, God, you call it what you want, divine, whatever you want to call it. I do believe there's something more to this. Now that's my belief. And because I believe it, does it make it true? Not necessarily. So whatever you believe is actually going to work for you. Your beliefs, if you really believe something to be true, then it is true for you. Just saying. It's just kind of how it works. That belief energy is the strongest energy, the driving force of what your life looks like today. So, having said that, when I got into my later teens, like 17, and I'm a Gen Xer, everybody's doing drugs, everybody's partying, everybody's dancing. That was not something the church liked. So therefore, I left because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. But they told me, if you leave because you know more than the average worldly person, you're going to get punished, because God doesn't like people knowing stuff and then turning their back on him. So that was burned in my brain. And guess what? I overdosed on drugs. 5 weeks later, I was assaulted at a party because I was drunk. Not that I'm blaming myself. I'm not. That's not what this is. Trust me, I made peace. Like I said, I got lots to be traumatized. That's not one of them. And then I ended up, pregnant at 20 years old, single mom, or just single. I wasn't married, out of wedlock, didn't even really have a committed boyfriend. But I made all these choices because I was lit or on drugs and not making great decisions. In fact, I just was actually responding to life. I was not intentionally thinking. And everyone said that I was going down this dark path and that I was ruining my life and my life was over and I would never amount to anything, basically. So my belief is, you all don't know me because I am extremely resourceful, and I'm not going to be a drug addict mother. In fact, I thought in my mind, I was going through a phase. Everybody's doing drugs, so I'm drinking and partying and going wild. That's what Gen X did. And I never planned on doing that for my whole life. I never expected that. That was not how I was. In fact, by 25 in my family, you weren't considered an adult unless you owned your own place. So that was kind of like, okay, now I'm having a baby. Now it's time to buckle up and settle down and get your act together. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't believe I was a drug addict. I didn't think having a child was ruining my life. I believed it kind of forced me into high gear to do something. And it did force me to settle down and bite the bullet, but I wanted that change and I knew I could do it. And I knew I could do whatever it took to make things happen and get the life I deserved and wanted. So we got into personal development in the salon I was working at. And it was amazing because it was kind of similar to that whole prayer. Like, because there are scriptures in the Bible that says, ask and you shall receive, and pray to God and Jesus, and trust that your prayers are answered, and don't keep living in that fear space that, oh, I got to check. It's not happening. It's not happening. You got to trust the process. All of that is actually true. Those are very valuable, truthful words and beliefs to go by, because it actually is true. So in my mind, my belief was that you're not an adult. Your parents aren't going to really respect you until you get your act together. If and being an adult defines you by owning a home. I started doing all the steps in personal development. I started believing they were true and that it worked. And I was seeing this, that I went from living when I first was pregnant and had to move out, nobody would rent to me. Nobody wanted to rent to a single mom because, they thought the welfare, they all thought like what everybody thought, that I was ruining my life. How was I going to get money? Blah, blah, blah. They didn't want to do Section 8, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, I don't even know if Section 8 was a thing yet. I think it was just starting to come into play. And I never went even on welfare. I didn't do any of those things that everybody said I was going to do, because the one thing I am, don't tell me how I am. I will tell you how I am. That's where my attitude kind of comes into play. And I'm super competitive. So if you give me a challenge, oh yeah, game on, and I'm going to win. So anyway, so I was living in this apartment, and like one street over, they had drive-by shootings. And, I think at the time I rented, rumor had it that there were some Hells Angels that were the managers, which actually kept the riffraff out. But when they left, oh man, the hookers that were right down the street would smoke crack in the laundry room. And my apartment was right next to the laundry room, like right across the walkway. And I was like, oh yeah, no, we can't be doing this anymore. So nothing motivates you like a crack whore in the bathroom. So I did have to put up with some funk to move out. I moved out with my daughter's biological father, who the day we got the keys to the apartment, because when you go rent a place and you look like a little couple, regardless if everything's the same with your finances and you on the application, oh yeah, they'll rent to you in that way. It's like, dang, this is the only way I'm going to get out and be in a good neighborhood. So I sucked it up. And let me tell you, that was rough. That was rough. That was not a good thing. That's when I learned to be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. So sometimes the universe has a better plan for you, and maybe you should just kind of not force things. But I forced things, and oh my gosh, that was like the longest, 8 months of my life living with that guy. And, finally he left, but then I had an opportunity to move in with my grandmother, pay her minimal amount of rent so that I could save money for a down payment, because I love my clients. They always give me this great advice. So not only did they counsel me, then I in turn can share that information and counsel other people. So anyway, so I sucked it up and moved in with my grandma for 1.5 years. And so by the time I was 25, just like my beliefs had thought since I was little, I bought my first condo as a single mom, owning my own business, doing hair. I started renting a chair at 22 years old. So, and I've had my own business ever since, because that's another thing. I'm not really good at being told what to do by corporate media management either. So anyway, so I'm more of that entrepreneur mind anyways. So yeah, so again, this is where I'm going with this. This is my beliefs. So that's why I want to share with you about your mindset. And that is the kind of work that I do. I want to say more of a mentor, a manifesting mentorship program is what I offer. And I know I always cringe on the coach thing, and I feel bad because there's some really great coaches out there, I'm not going to lie. And people do need coaches. You don't just become this pro football player without having a coach. You don't just lose weight if you have no skills and then you join Weight Watchers. That's a coaching program. And when we put money and value to something, then we stick to it usually. Or you hire a personal trainer at the gym because you have no idea what to work out because you're new at the whole thing. So I know, see, my belief around that's got to change, right? So, and there's plenty of people who do wonderful, like business coaching. You know, I wouldn't say I can help with your business when it comes to your beliefs, but if you need somebody with marketing skills, that's not me either. You know, so there are people that are specific to that. So I use energy, and that's why I read cards. I do it a little differently as well. And I do use tarot or oracle cards because I can actually show you what your energy is going on, whether you realize it or not, because the energy and the beliefs that actually manifest your life are the ones that are in your subconscious. And that's why I love this book, The Mind Magic. And I just started it, but I have listened to Dr. James Doty many times on interviews. And he adds the neuroscience of it. And I love neuroscience because it's really starting to make sense on how this beliefs and the energy and how it all works together. And it shows in your brain and in your heart, because there are vibrations too. Remember, we are made of molecules where things are constantly vibrating. This cup has molecules in it that has formed it into a cup, but it's still moving at a subatomic level. And our energy is like that too. And they show that with quantum physics, with the waves, that you can have something far away in a subatomic area at those lower stages that can influence what's going on in another situation. And that's why I believe in the Ponzi scheme. I'll get my money back. And the reason being is one of my family members had gone through a bank scam that, you know, it was a gift card scam thing. It was a big drama. And I was obsessed with getting this money back for that person. One, because that was blood money. And for two, it was so wrong of what the banks did. Like they had, it wasn't that much money to them. It was to this person. It was like $10,000. Actually, it was 95, but because these guys didn't do their due diligence, my person made $1,500 on it. So, you know, but the deal was everybody kept saying, no, you're not going to get the money back. Once you do it like this, it's gone. You can't get it back. And I was like, no, that is not an answer I'm going to accept. And I believe that there's a solution. I don't know what it is. And I had to take painstaking steps to get to that solution. And I can tell you right now that because of this, and because I was all about it's not fair, not just for my family member, but for the greater good, the greater people out there that are losing their money because of stupid scammers, and the banks are just allowing all these unusual transactions to go through. Guess what? I know that I'm the reason that you now get emails from your banks about what the latest scams were, because none of those emails came out until I started making a stink at the OCC and the FDIC and the SEC and to Elizabeth Warren, to all the general attorneys that you could think of. And that's how you get stuff done. But it's that drive, it's that belief that there's more than one way. And that belief worked, and it worked out better. It ended up getting more money that was even lost. Go figure. So that's why I think that little terrible experience prepared me for this Ponzi scheme thing that I'm in right now. And they're working it out. It's all in litigation. It's all a huge drama. There's a lot to the story that I can't even begin to talk about here. I have different views than most people, probably because of my belief system, right? So this is how I work. This is how I use it in my business. This is how I use it to have the things that I have. I went from being that single mother who everybody thought was a drug addict, making bad choices and doing all these things, to by the time I was 29 years old, I was found my partner in life. Now my husband, been my husband for ever now. Like we've been together for like 30 years. We have another child, a son. So I have my daughter, my son. And by the time I was 29, we had 3 properties because we combined one. I had mine, he had his, and then we bought one together. So, and then we started building an empire, and then we bought a couple more houses. We bought actually 3 more houses, and then got into an investment. Again, that turned kind of into the Ponzi scheme, but, whatever, we got out of the other investments, and I was just about to get out of this investment until the partner went and screwed up everything. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Again, But I do have a weird belief surrounding money sometimes. So maybe that played into this. So we're rewiring the neurons, because what fires together wires together. What you focus on expands. It just does. So what are you focusing on that keeps expanding? Was it something you like, or is it something you don't like? Have you really thought about that? Well, okay. So enough of that. We're going to end with a 3-card reading like I do. And I'm using the Grateful Dead deck that my client gave me. My clients are wonderful. They've helped me, I think, as much as I've helped them. And again, it all ties together. The mind, body, and spirit. Because let's face it, there's a real psychology in hair. Because if your hair does not look good, you don't feel good. That means a thing. There was a thing on LinkedIn, where these people were talking about, should people get hired, or do people get hired more when they wear makeup or dress up or whatever? And to be honest, they do. And I think it's not really about just the makeup and pretty people, because there is a thing of pretty privilege. I think it goes to more of how you present yourself. There is a thing called dress for success, but it's not about putting on a mask, because if you're really insecure, it's going to show through anyways. What it is when you feel confident because your hair looks good, or you feel confident in a new pair of shoes or a hat or a new blouse or whatever it is, that confidence is what radiates. It's not because you put on makeup or you did your hair or you're prettier than somebody else or whatever, because sometimes too pretty can make people think that it might work against you, believe it or not. I mean, I was just reading up on a story on somebody who they thought she was too pretty to be a manager of a band. But that was back a long time ago when, men can do it better. So I'm not here to hate on men. I don't hate men. I like them too, because I'm surrounded by many good men in my life, and they are all wonderful people. They're not mean or messed up or any of that. So here's how this is going to work today for the energy reading. So you pick a number 1 through 3. That will be your emphasis on the energy reading. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And please sign up for my newsletter if you want more about the Queen course that I'm coming out with. I think I'm going to actually release that sometime either this week or next week. And so if you pick card number 1, this is the 7 of Skulls. All right. 7 of Skulls. That is, has somebody taken something from you? Do you feel like you need to course correct? This is about change, where you feel like it's time to go. You got to pick up your toys and leave. It also could mean that somebody might have taken something from you, whether it's energy, money, something physically. This can be kind of the thief card. So, but it also can mean that whatever you were doing for a long time, it's time to course correct and change this. This situation no longer serves you. So let's see what the other 2 supporting cards have to say. So if you pick card number 2, oh wow, we got another 7, a 7 of Rose. Okay. This is a procrastination card. It's time to make some decisions. Like, see, you have a choice, but you have to make it. That's the whole thing. There can be many choices. So get clear, get clear on clarity on what it is you want to do. We have a clarity candle that helps manifest and helps you keep your eye on the intention on what you're focusing to clear your mind. It's kind of like a meditation kind of candle you can use to help close your eyes, relax, smell the smells that help with clarity. And that might help you in this situation, because the 7 of Rose is like the 7 of Cups. So that means we have a lot of choices, and it's time to stop procrastinating. It's time to start doing. Okay. So wouldn't that be weird if we got another 7? All right. So if you pick card number 3, oh no, this is the 8 of Lightning Bolts. Okay. The 8 of Wands. All right. So this card, that's very appropriate. This card is like there are a lot of things going on right now. We are busy, busy, busy. Lots of irons in the fire. And again, this totally fits with some of the things. So This is a good busy. This is not an overwhelming busy. This is almost like you have the energy to do it. You just need to get off your booty and do it. So it looks like, maybe somebody's taken something from you and it's time for you to go get it back. Get off your butt and do it. It's time. This is not a time to just sit still and let things, happen and to you. This is time for you to make a conscious effort to get busy and go do that thing. It's time to leave the situation. Whatever you've been doing is not working. It's stealing from your energy. In fact, I think that actually probably has a little more to do with this, that whatever is draining the life out of you right now, make that decision to do something about it, because you have energy to do it. And once you do it, that ball's going to start rolling and it's going to get you in a place that you actually like. So with that, I hope this message has kind of put some clarity on how your energy works and what I do as a manifesting mentor to help you kind of find where your blocks are, kind of your old beliefs are hindering you. Okay. So with that, have a great day. And I will be seeing you next Wednesday again. All right. Take it easy. Bye.